Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this evening. I have a couple of announcements I want to make. And Pat, if you could give me the spotlight again. One of them is I want to talk about a new show that we're starting. And the first one is going to be tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. You'll have to log into YouTube at 7 o'clock. Our channel is New Tracks Modeling on YouTube. I hope you'll subscribe to it, because then you'll get all of the advanced notifications about this new show. This new show is called Modeling Lifestyles. It's about people that are, yes, they're excellent modelers. Yes, they are model builders. Yes, they love the hobby, but they have made significant contributions, not just in the modeling of building models, but also in the promotion and the development of our hobby over the course of time. If you've ever wanted to meet a modeler like John Allen and talk to him about the contributions that he made to the hobby, or Frank Ellison, or some of the other really great modelers that we hear about, we've read about in the past, well, those are the people that we're going to be trying to get to come on the show and talk to us. The show will be an hour plus. How much plus? I don't know. It depends on who the modeler is and how the discussion goes. The format of the shows are going to be, we're going to have a modeler and 3 of his friends who have known him and know him today and have worked with him and seen his modeling and talked with him and been a part of his life for quite a while. And we're going to sit around like a bunch of people, just getting to know each other and trying to find out who this modeler is that we may have heard about, but many of us may never have had an opportunity to really sit down and talk to before and meet. I hope that you enjoy this concept. I hope you enjoy the show. The first one is tomorrow night. It features Alan Littlefield, who is an OM30 modeler. And you'll hear a lot about OM30 and about how people who model in that scale feel about it, why it is so popular in certain areas, why a lot of people are being attracted to it. I have a short video I'd like for Pat to run for you now that talks about this new show. So Pat, if you could run the video, I appreciate it.
I do not have it. Somebody got it?
Chris, if you have that video, if you could run it, I would appreciate it.
Let me take a look here real quick. Looks like Phil's got it.
Thanks, Phil.
Welcome to the Modeling Lifestyle, where we celebrate how modelers have embraced their modeling and friendships as a lifestyle. We discuss how modeling can become a life passion and lead to lifelong friendships. The goal of the modeling lifestyle is to preserve the modeling and interests of leading modelers in the modeling industry. The modeling lifestyle is sponsored by NGMC, who believes that through bringing hobbyists together with both information and modeling, the hobby will grow stronger with more model builders than ever. NGMC, which started as Narrow Gauge Modeling Company, is focused in 1/4 inch scale across hobbies. NGMC is a market leader in 1/4 inch scale with a range of products from over 50 vendors. In 2021, NGMC became the largest reseller of out-of-production model paint in North America with over 9,000 bottles in stock. And now to Jim Kello, MMR, host of the Modeling Lifestyle.
I love the sound of a whistle.
And that's what our show is going to be about. And I can't thank Kevin McCumber enough for sponsoring our show. I think that it's going to be really something to see. We're getting an awful lot of people interested in the show. And I hope that you'll join us tomorrow night and be a part of it. As I say, it won't be on Zoom. It'll only be on YouTube. And our YouTube channel is New Tracks Modeling. So if you'll go and subscribe to that channel, then you'll get the advance notification about each one of our shows. We're going to have a new show every 2 weeks on Thursday evenings. So I hope that you like them. I hope that you enjoy participating in them. And we will have someone watching the YouTube chat function so that anybody has a question or wants to make comments and so forth, they'll be picked up, and we'll ask those questions or make the comments for you live on that show. So again, thank you so much for coming this evening. I appreciate it so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. That's the most important part of the shows. If you haven't, I hope that you'll go to our website, newtracksmodeling.com, and subscribe. The shows that we do produce on Zoom on the Wednesday night at 7 o'clock and Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. We send out the login links to everyone who is subscribed to our website for Zoom. So if you want to join us on Zoom for those shows, please subscribe to our website, newtracksmodeling.com. And again, for our YouTube channel, it's New Tracks Modeling. And if you'll subscribe to the channel and ring the bell, and then you'll get all the advance notices and be able to use the chat function to join us live through YouTube. So thanks so much again. And with that, we'll end the show this evening and go to the after show. Clark Kooning, MMR, who normally does the after show for us, is not here this evening. So you're stuck with me again for the after show. And I'll open it up for anyone that has any comments or suggestions, or anybody that's new to the show that hasn't been here before that would like to introduce themselves.
Hey, Jim, this is Phil. Just one comment. If on the video, if you noticed all of the engines, those are all Alan's creations. What we're going to do is we'll modify that over time with other models as other modelers come in. So if you thought those were intriguing, that'll be a lot of what Alan will be talking about with his friends. And I'll also put in the chat, I'll put a link to the video feed point on YouTube. So anyone who wants it, this will be the link for the live YouTube video tomorrow.
And as I say, this is something new for us, and we're experimenting with it. And so are the people. Alan just happens to be our guinea pig for this, and he's having some fun with it. We've had 2 practice sessions so far that have been, that the reason we've had 2 is the first one didn't go well. The second one is still a little iffy, but I'm sure tomorrow night is going to be a lot of fun for everybody. Anybody else have any comments or talk about anything you'd like?
Yeah, Jim, it's Pat here.
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank Chris and Chris Smith and Phil and all the boys there that put a presentation together and put it on tonight. It was quite interesting and very informative. And I want to thank those that stood in for me while my power was out. I didn't even think I was going to get on, but I found out there's a few things I had missed. So anyway, thank you very much.
Well, I tell you, tonight has been an interesting night because Phil couldn't be here to start. Pat had a storm come through his town that destroyed some of it, so he lost power for quite a while. Alan is brand new as volunteer, trying to run the show for the first time. Chris Blackmar filled in from the Saturday show to try to help us get something started. So I think we're fortunate that we got a show on the air at all. And I want to thank everybody who participated, because it really was a joint effort tonight, just trying to get something going, because if it could go wrong, I think it did at the start of the show.
Thanks.
Jim, it reminds me of the old movie Airport 75 when Karen Black is in the cockpit and she says, "There's no one left to fly the plane."
Well, that's about how I felt there for a while, I'll tell you.
I was having a major fit.
I would like to make
let's face it, it's part of the fun of doing the show, I think. It's a live show, done it for a long time now. And the volunteers that have done the show with me, we together have probably made every mistake known to man in trying to put this show on, and probably more of them, more than once, many of them. But it's been fun, and we survived it. And so far, knock on wood, we haven't missed getting a show on when it was supposed to go on. So got to be doing something right.
That's right.
Jim, I'd like to make one other quick comment. And those of you that are on the Saturday show with me for the scratch building, and you had ordered a 3D print of the ice machine from Heath, you should have those in your hands by now. And Rich, I'll get together with you over the phone. We'll discuss that broken part. If you don't have your print, please let me know via email, and I'll go through and check the tracking on them and everything. But I believe everybody's should be delivered at this point in time.
Order some cupcakes.
Yeah, the two possible exceptions are the gentleman up in Canada, and I'm dealing with you guys separately, and you kind of know what's going on. But anyway, we've got the 3D prints, and I'm looking forward to seeing them painted up.
Have you gotten yours yet, Chris?
Mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened was we actually had all of them for the US. Everybody that ordered them gave me their addresses, and then I just had Heath send me one big package with everybody's prints in it, and then I turned around and remailed them back out to everybody.
Gotcha.
Here in the US, so that cut down on the cost. And for those of you that noticed, and I've already gotten 3 or 4 emails back on the cards, but Heath just is not charging anybody for it, but I did include his address on that 3x5 card if you wanted to send him a donation for his materials and time, because remember, he designed them. If you wanted to get your zone printed out, we do have the CAD designs and to be able to do a 3D print on the Nutrax website there. So they're really nice looking machines. It's an ice making machine that goes inside the ice house. Anyway, with that, I'll let you go here, and I got to go this evening, gentlemen. So everybody have a good evening, and I look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks so much for your help tonight, Chris. Anybody else have anything that I can talk about?
Hey, Jim,
Yeah.
the title, The Modeling Lifestyle, isn't that the title of some ads in the back of Vogue magazine? Are we going to be seeing Phil walking the runway in a tutu or something?
No,
Sorry,
Pat,
I just had to say it.
no. Pat's already said that he wanted to do that.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
He's got his own outfits picked out.
Wait till Halloween.
Oh, golly.
Looks like a good show.
Well, I hope it is. It's going to
Yeah.
be something different, and so far the people that I've talked to about it and asked to be on the show have said, it's unfortunate that you didn't start this earlier, because in certain cases, we've lost some really outstanding modelers fairly recently, within the last 2 or 3 months. And yeah, I'm sorry that we didn't get them on. I'm sorry that we couldn't do that. But, we got the idea a couple of months ago, and it's just taken a while to try to put it together, and just, trying to get the format down that made sense, and trying to figure out how we were going to deal with the modeling side versus the other things that the modelers are involved in. I mean, Alan Littlefield, Alan is a really great artist in his own right, but he puts on 2 shows a year. Some people call them events. Other people call them reunions, like family reunions. And for a lot of modelers, it's a must-go-to show. It's maybe one of the few around the country that they will attend, but they'll travel considerable distances, many of them, to make sure that they're there every time Alan puts on one of his shows. They're that popular. And so we're going to talk to him about that and why they're so different and why people, think the way they do about them. Because it's unusual for people to call a train show like going to a family reunion, but that's how they feel about his shows. And it's something really different that he's done to create that environment and that atmosphere.
I can hear a pin drop out there.
Well, I'm waiting for other comments and discussion. I don't know how to do this after show that well compared to Clark. Clark seems to get it going and people just jump right in. So,
Woohoo!
Jim, this is Jeff Jordan with a number of modelers assembled. Maybe somebody can give me a suggestion for something I'm working on. I'm currently building a kit for an O-scale water tank for my narrow gauge railroad. And the kit suggests that the tank bands be made with fishing line. But that doesn't work for my prototype. My prototype, the bands are more like belts or straps, obviously made out of metal. And I'm looking for ideas on how to model those straps. I thought about using, like Tamiya masking tape, but I'd end up using up, I don't know how many rolls of that stuff to get enough bands on the tank. And the only other thing I've been able to think of is maybe evergreen styrene strips, but wanted to see if anybody else had any other suggestions of how they might have put bands on an O-scale water tank. It takes an amazing amount of material because the tank scales out as 24 feet diameter. And so using, some geometry, you need 19 inches of material for each band. And with like 20 to 25 bands, boy, that's a lot of inches.
Up here, a lot of us are in ON3, and we've built the similar tanks, and we use Mylar for those strips for the bands. It's very pliable, it's thin. It would scale out to about the thickness of a metal band. And do you have the fasteners in the kit?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and then you're way to the races. If you can find yourself some at an art store or a drafting supply store, should have some Mylar.
Does it come in sheets and then you cut your own strips?
Yes. You can tape it down and cut it with a straight edge and a X-Acto knife or a scalpel.
Oh, okay. And that would cover the mileage too, because you just take a sheet and cut lots of strips out of it.
That's right. Yes.
I like that suggestion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, it looks like Bill has walked away from the screen here. I was going to tell him I just completed his kit for the Vance Junction section house. And hopefully I'm working on finishing up Vance Junction. So it may be on June 29th, I'll unveil my Vance Junction, including his section house.
How'd you like that kit?
It was a little bit of a challenge because I was glad I built several of his other kits first, which came with much more detailed instructions. This one comes with just 2 pages of instructions and a number of illustrations. And so from building his other kits, including the warehouse, which you've seen, but also one of the mine kits that had a lot more instruction, I knew how to put it together when the instructions just kind of said, do this and didn't have the explanation. But it's a beautiful finished model. Oh, here he is now. Bill, I was just discussing the fact that I just recently completed your O-scale Vance Junction section house kit. And I'm very pleased with the finished model. I mean, with all the details there, including, that the whole second floor is shingled. It would have been a challenge to build any other way. And so I'm very happy with the finished building, but I was talking about the fact that I also was happy that I had built several of your other kits first, which came with more extensive instructions the 2 pages of instructions that come with that kit presume a fair amount of prior knowledge or experience, and having built the prior kits, they really helped
Absolutely.
me build that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the very early kits before digital cameras, and my early days. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, the early kits, 2 pages of instructions, good luck to you, call me if you got a problem, I'm moving to Brazil, that kind of thing. So, but there was a point in time where digital cameras became a little bit easier to use and get the photos in. So, over time, it's naturally going to improve. And I think the Cimarron Mine kit, when we did that, that was really the first one that really had good photographs through, and it's probably when I really upped the game on the instructions. Some of the early ones, it was, okay, here's some drawings and here's some part numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I
they're
said,
certainly buildable.
yes. Oh, yeah. It finished into a beautiful model. I'm very happy with it. But I was glad I had previously built, I think it's Little Creek Mine,
Yeah.
and also the warehouse.
Yeah.
And having built both of those, they gave me the skills I needed and the knowledge about how your kits went together to
There you
enable
go.
me to build the Vance Junction section house and have a
Right.
very, very presentable finished model. But
Excellent.
boy, am I tired of applying shingles.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing to do either.
Bill, I've heard people say that for a manufacturer, developing the instructions for a kit is the most difficult part of producing the kit. Would you agree with that?
I would absolutely agree with that. You can go through and design it, and I really enjoy the designing and the building. And then what I do is I'll take a set of production parts and start writing instructions as I build. And man, it can take 3 and 4 and 5 days for a basic kit. And I'm working on one now that in 120.3, and I've got a good 2 weeks into the instructions so far. And I've just set it aside for another week before I get back to it. It gets, if you don't try to explain everything as well as you can, you start getting the phone calls and say, well, what did you really mean? So I try to get as much in it as I can at the front end. Yeah, it's certainly intense. That's a fact. Yeah.
I think that's one reason why the build-alongs on the show have some popularity now, because the people are looking at the modeler on the show who's building the model as a crutch. So
Yeah.
if they have a question, they've got somebody that they can see and ask the question to, rather than just kind of struggle it out themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
Anybody else got any comments about the kits that are out there, the difficulty of building the model kits of today?
Oh, it's so much.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's so much fun to watch Martin put together an old kit. It reminds me of what it was like to build structure kits all the many years ago when you opened the box and had a couple of sheets of wood and a couple of sticks, and you attempted to make that look like a building. The laser cut kits have just so dramatically changed structure construction today, that they're so precisely cut. The windows are already cut out, the doors are already cut out, they're tabbed, they fit together, they end up nice and square. It gives you a tremendous running head start on the kits, and there's several producers out there of laser cut structure kits. Bill's kits, I really think, are excellent, and there are a couple of other laser cut kits, and I really enjoy putting them together, knowing that I'm not going to have to re-engineer the kit, that the parts are going to fit together. I'm not going to spend an interminable amount of time trimming, sanding, just to make it go together the way it's supposed to go together.
Something else that I hear is that people have favorite manufacturer. I have a friend that every time Bar Mills comes out with a new kit, they want to be first in line. They'll buy it. They don't care what it is. You know, they just want to buy one and build it because Bar Mills is the only manufacturer that they buy kits from. Is anybody else like that? I mean, how common is that? Because I do hear people tell me that, you know, I've heard other people say, you know, I do have this manufacturer, or I only buy from these two manufacturers. I've heard that.
Well, I know some people that collect kits, and that's the key. And they don't have no intention of building them. They just collect them, and for the artistry, it's in the kit itself, and the instructions and the plans. So some of the kit manufacturers put a lot of castings in, like Fine Scale Miniature back in the day. I know there's almost like an association, or not association, but a group of people that follow each other on the internet that collect those kits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would not complain, just like Jeff was saying, the number of manufacturers we have in the kits available to us nowadays, it's so wonderful to have all those kits. And so I know we always want something different and something else, but when I first got into 013, we were scrounging around. I was going scrounging around looking for old kits at shows down in the States. Couldn't get anything in Canada, really. So I used to look forward to going to Kimberton, Pennsylvania, and places like that, and getting the older kits, Tom York, and plastic miniatures, people like that. But nowadays, after the 3D printing, and like you said, with all the windows and that cut out, I have a building, I'm going to be scratch building. I've ordered the windows, but I got to cut all the holes out, and there's 54 windows in that building. And there's doors too. So
You ought to know what you're doing by then.
yeah, or it's going to hit the wall at some point.
There's a simple answer. It's a cry cut.
The cricket?
Or cricket, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it, cricket or cry cut or whatever it is, but you go buy one of those and use that to cut it.
It depends on the thickness of the material though, doesn't it, Phil?
Yeah, but they'll cut through most wood that we use as siding, and unless you're building it as an individual board building.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to cheat on this one and use scribed siding. And it's an O scale, so the siding is reasonably thick, and I will be putting on a backing too, because of the size of the building. But if I was doing it in the styrene, I'd do something that I think it was John Narich that introduced it back when he was building buildings for Troy, New York, large buildings in styrene, and he'd build it in blocks and put it together so you didn't have to sit there and cut out the windows. He would cut these blocks of styrene in between the windows and above and below, and then glue them on, and then put a siding on, the brick siding, whatever it was. But that was a good idea. But I just can't do that in the wood.
Let me ask you guys this. What do you consider a craftsman kit? What does that mean?
One that has great difficulty to put together.
Yep. You'll get several, more than several evenings of entertainment and enjoyment out of it. But
it's when you open the box and take one look and close it again and come back 3 weeks later.
Hey, if you run out, I got some. Oh man!
I guess when I got into the hobby seriously, and I was in HO, Campbell kits were considered
there you go.
craftsman kit.
Yeah.
This is the only thing on the shelves up here, but I belonged to a club, and we built so many of those kits, and it was such a variety from residential housing to stores to industries.
We have one fellow down here in Chatham that bought every one of them, and it came out, and he's assembled every one of them.
Yeah.
His layout is just full of them.
We used to claim a craftsman kit. You'd open them up and there'd be a block of wood in there with a chisel, and the directions said remove everything that doesn't look like a caboose.
Oh, brother.
That's not far from our locomotive workshop kit.
Oh.
Anyway, I sent you that notice about P&D hobbies, just so in case you wanted to stock up on drives and whatnot.
Yeah, I saw that.
Green.
Although I guess they're going to continue manufacturing out of their basement or something because they said that they'll continue to sell online.
Oh, well, that's good.
So
So
P&D
apparently
is
they're just
closing the store?
closing the brick and mortar store.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're selling showcases, everything.
That was a great model railroad store, though. I used to go in, I was in there at least once a week when I lived in Michigan. And the people that you met there, the other modelers that were hanging around, it was just, I mean, it was like going to a train show every time you went into the damn hobby shop out there. I mean, it was just there were always 2 or 3 or 4 people hanging around. And the staff knew if you had a question, they had answers for you, whatever it was. It was just,
and they went to every show.
And people used to bring models that they were working on, and people would comment on them. Well, you ought to do this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just a really exciting place to be, just to be there and to see who else was there when you went in. It was just a place to go, not just on the weekends, but any day of the week you could find that.
I think the pandemic has played a real role in this. A lot of the guys closed down for a year or so and they just can't handle it afterwards. It's a lot of brick and mortar to pay for.
No, I don't think it's just brick and mortar. I think it's finding employees. I think that's part of the problem a lot of the places are having too. I hear that from other hobby shop owners, that it's not just the cost of the store, it's where getting employees that want to work.
That I don't understand, but that's what Al Collins is getting, parts like screws and the different parts that he needed to make a sander and a slicer. And he was having problems getting that stuff. And like you said, now all of a sudden he's starting to accumulate and he's got like around $100,000 worth of inventory sitting on the shelf and in little parts. And
yeah,
he's been building like crazy lately, but to catch up on his orders and that. But and that's a lot of people are talking about that, and I can't understand why. And that would to me would be like machinist. I guess maybe it's all CNC machines making bolts and but why people didn't go back to those jobs, I can't fathom it.
Well, and it's simple stuff too. It's not just machinists. It's people just stuffing envelopes, putting the parts in the envelopes. They can't find people that want to do that anymore.
Well,
and what gets me about it, I keep thinking to myself, well, how are these people living? I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, I don't want this job. I'm bored. I'm leaving and goodbye. And I never want to see you again. So, okay, now I'm sitting at home. How in the world am I supporting myself?
Maybe a thought might cross the path of crime pays or something. I don't know, supporting themselves. Yeah, exactly. You wonder, because the government, gave out some assistance during the COVID time, but I think that's all over now. So.
Yeah, but why aren't they going back to work now? Then I mean, why? Because it's down in the States, at least, I hear stories. Restaurants are closing because they can't find people. They're not opening those hours they used to be because they can't find people.
Well, a lot of people actually, there's record numbers of people actually starting their own businesses, working out of their garage, out of their basement. They're on Etsy selling stuff.
Yeah.
And they're doing better doing that. Well, working in a restaurant in Pennsylvania, if you're on tips, the hourly wage is under $2 an hour plus tips. So you can probably sell some model trains built in your basement for better prices than that.
Yeah, probably could.
Or whatever it is
Yeah.
Macrame dog uniforms. I don't know. People will buy weird, crazy stuff. I mean, go on Etsy and take a look someday. It's amazing. You can find the doggone this stuff on there and people buy it. I mean, that company is hosting a ton of craft-based one-person businesses, and they're doing well. It's
more power to them. I think that's wonderful. If you want to become entrepreneurs, I think that's great. But
that doesn't necessarily show up in the employment and facts and figures.
Yeah,
it kind of flies below the radar a little bit. And
Well, they say unemployment now is less than 4%.
yeah, it's the
Well,
lowest it's been in probably like 50 years.
You know,
But-
when I was in school, 4% was normal unemployment. That wasn't any
Yeah.
big deal. If it's less than that, then that's
It is.
that's a tight labor market. But that also has to say that, compared to 2 years ago when we had all these other people working, there's a tremendous amount of people that for some reason gave up jobs and went home. And I find it hard to believe all of them have become entrepreneurs.
No, they found other jobs. They found better jobs, a lot of them. My son just changed jobs.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
month, this past 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
can
well,
appreciate-
his salary went up like 150%
yeah, I don't doubt
because
that.
he's got qualifications and they needed somebody. So he jumped.
Absolutely. And they couldn't find people and they desperately needed employees.
Well, and he can go back, if this falls through, he's already been told he's welcome back.
Oh, absolutely. Because they're probably having trouble finding a person to replace him.
Well, they can
So-
find people, but they're not very good people. How about that?
I understand that.
He's a little bit overqualified. It's what for that job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well,
But now they're
things are
saying,
changing.
they need all of these truckers. But where are they going to find the people that want to be truckers?
Well,
I assume that there's a certain amount of training to drive one of those. I never tried to drive
Oh,
one,
yeah.
but I'm assuming that you got to go through some kind of something to be able to drive a truck well.
I've heard the biggest problem, Jim, is that the truckers have found that the gas or the fuel, the diesel fuel, is getting harder to get with the input, that stuff they put in the fuel to for the new EPM. I guess it's
Yep.
getting hard to get that stuff, and the fuel is so expensive. Like, why is it a trucking company even try to make money? They can't, because it's getting every day keeps changing.
Well, exactly. And so it's almost like they've got to put a fuel surcharge on everything that they do because they know it's going to be different the next hour than it is right now.
But most companies won't accept it. The brokers are making money, but they're not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I saw somebody on television this morning. They showed, I think it was somewhere in California, and I forget where. I think it was pretty close to Los Angeles. They had regular gasoline at $8.04 a gallon, and the premium was 4 cents higher. Well, I've never seen anything like that where regular gas was 4 cents lower than the premium gas was. And then diesel was much higher than that.
Yeah.
Well, if the trucks are using diesel and we're getting a lot of our fruits and vegetables out of California, can you imagine what the price is going to be in the grocery stores locally by the time you pay the trucking cost to get them from California with those kind of gas prices?
it's
You think
reflecting up here because we're bringing all kinds of that stuff in because our growing season up here. So our growing season, they're just planting now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's reflected right into our stores.
If you think you see shortages, you're going to see a whole lot more this fall.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this diaper situation, I can't imagine. And not diaper situation, the formula situation for the babies. Can you imagine that we have a shortage of baby formula in this country or in this world? Where on earth have we lost our way here? I mean, it makes no sense to me. Baby formula?
Yeah, the company that produces 60% of it got shut down. Their plant got the plug pulled on it
I
Because
understand.
for safety reasons.
Yeah.
But don't you think that, within a fairly short period of time, that company could have thrown whatever money was necessary to get those issues dealt with, and the government could have thrown whatever number of people it needed to get in there to make sure that they were safe again?
You would think that,
does
but
it-
apparently they didn't act very quickly on it.
Well, don't you think somebody needs?
Well, nothing happens until it becomes an emergency. You know that.
Well, I understand, but
We-
you would think of all the people that we've got doing all of these things all
Oh.
over the world, my God in heaven, to have to import baby formula?
Yeah, well,
Well, all I can say for a
Again?
young generation, breasts are looking a lot better nowadays.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm telling you.
Won't comment on that one.
yeah.
No. Good thing I got a live stream off.
And you're still recording somewhere.
I'm recording, but it ain't gonna do anybody any good. Oh,
Save that for blackmail purposes.
that's
Yes.
yes. Oh dear.
Hey,
Martin.
maybe
Yeah.
one of these days they'll start shipping stuff by train instead of.
Yeah.
What a concept. Who would have thought that would happen?
Well, we're going to the polls here in Ontario tomorrow. It's our provincial elections. And